school funding through legalizing gambling as a taxable revenue source. The huge budget problem in the state of Illinois is mind-boggling and has to be fixed. These problems must be confronted with new ideas of how to raise capital to fund the schools in our state. The children of the state of Illinois are the most important commodity. They have to be educated in the best means possible. To do this, the state has to find new sources of revenue. The state budget will have a $6.2 billion shortfall by the end of 2017. The state has raised income and sales taxes to the highest levels in the United States. And still, the state of Illinois has the largest budget deficit of any state. The state has two choices to raise money for this budget: the legalization of marijuana and taxing its sale, or legalizing gambling in casinos throughout the state. The legalization of gambling would bring in huge revenue through taxation of all table games, slots, sports wagering, and poker rooms. In addition, if the state makes casinos legal, more income could be derived from tourists that would visit the state, and hotel, restaurant, and transportation taxes would increase. Also, these casinos could attract more conventions back to the state and generate even more income. As seen in the state of Nevada, it has allowed the state to eliminate all sales and state taxes. Nevada is a small populated state. In Illinois, we could even generate greater income because we have so much population. With this capital, the state could finance the school funding programs and the infrastructure deficits. The influx of tourists that this legislation would bring to the state is infinite. The city of Chicago alone is a giant tourist draw, and the allure of casinos would increase travel incrementally. The state could also tax Airbnbs, as people would secure them to stay in the city. This could bring in additional revenue. People opposed to this legalization of gambling will argue that this will increase crime and gambling addiction through the state. Programs must be mandated to educate our population to deal with this problem. Gamblers Anonymous and other agendas must be supported by the state to deter this kind of activity. With regard to crime, the state has to be diligent with how these casinos are operated. There is no room for any malfeasance. The state has a poor reputation to start with. Outside committees should be formed and regulated to the max. This is the state's chance to fix this enormous monetary problem. This needs to be handled under the most intense scrutiny. There is no room for any inkling of illegal activity. The money accumulated through the program is for the state budget and not earmarked for the city of Chicago. This is the entire state's problem, not an individual city. This money must be administered by the State House of Government. Therefore, this entire project has to be overseen by a reputable state finance committee, which is to be fully vetted by a search panel composed of parties who have no affiliation to the state and are totally impartial. Again, the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago have a terrible track record of handling finances in the past. They must act judiciously and properly handle this new capital. The state of Illinois is in a deep hole in regard to the budget, and this needs to be addressed immediately. This can be rectified by legalizing casinos and gambling throughout the state. The taxes generated by this plan can be used to pay for the shortfalls and fund neglected schools. The state is missing out on a great opportunity here and needs to take the initiative to make this right. The lives of our children are the ones that are immediately affected by the poor school funding and lack of new programs. The state cannot ignore this.